Bless you, Jason. All
I
right.
need a cough button over here.
Until the show starts.
You know what? We're just going to leave that in.
Yeah.
Welcome to another edition of the After Hours podcast here, the usual Sunday crew. Marc's laid back. He's got the eye black on. I've got like 3 or 4 things I want to talk about, but let's first talk about, I mean, how hard are you going in this old man baseball league?
Hey, call it what you want. You practice like you play. This adds 50 points to my BA, my batting average.
Is that really eye black, or is that just like oil from your car that you just...
And I don't use the stickers. I use the
legit stick.
School.
I use the lipstick.
The Carmex black stick.
You know,
you got to get some of that ice black so you can get the colored versions of them.
One of the coolest things I did on Rocky's TV was Gerardo Parra used to put his eye black on, and he would. I said to him, "You feather it." Like he would feather it kind of the way that he likes. And he would say to me, "No, it's little lines. And I go, "I got you. It's feathered." But he put his eye black on me for a game. We did it like in the dugout,
right?
And shot it and put it on TV. It was in Washington and they won. And then
so
Keith Duggar, the trainer, comes, seeks me out,
right?
Because it was a doubleheader.
Streak.
I don't know.
If they won, that means he's got to do it the next day and the next day.
Stout, eye black. Get it done. And that was it. And then he turned around.
Did it have to be the feathered? Or
it had to be done by
Parra had to do it. So this is how stupid baseball players are, that they actually thought this worked. Right.
But he did it to me once where he actually burned a cork.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah, that's the old school. You take a cork and you burn it, and it
blackens. We can use that for hunting as well.
Yeah, and it blackens, and it's tough to get off.
It takes the glare off your cheeks.
Yeah. So anyway, look, man, I bought it. It was at Dick's. It was a $4 lipstick thing. I think I look cool.
No, look, it's fine.
And,
you do look cool, by the way.
Chicks like it.
You've gotten some looks. When you walked in,
I had practice.
There were heads
today,
that were turned for sure.
I had practice.
The gals
today.
behind the desk were like,
season starts next week.
Serious.
Right.
Dude, it was funny because I went looking for some cleats a couple years ago for lacrosse because, dude, I'm old enough. They didn't make lacrosse cleats. We just looked for football cleats, right?
Yeah.
Does it say what kind of cleats are you allowed to have, like a toe spike on there? Or?
No, it just was. But here's the thing. I'm looking because, again, I'm old and I'm cheap.
Right.
So I was looking $20
They're probably
to $40
They were
range.
molds, right?
No, here's the thing.
What are they now?
You couldn't use metal, right?
I might have them in my car. I found some sweet red cleats. But
they were pony, weren't they?
Red.
They were pony.
Like everybody, I've just, for 3 years, it's just nothing but crap. Because it's like you show up with these shoes like you think you're about to do something.
Right.
They don't fit on a 40, the 40-plus-year-old leagues. They don't belong in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dude, but you got your red slippers.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm Dorothy.
You are Dorothy.
Believe me, that's
you click your heels.
Yelled at me in midfield. You gonna click your heels before you face off or what?
That's awesome.
So anyway, I've been there where but you got to get into it. Look, I think it's fun when you throw into it. Now, I don't want to go down softball guy route where you get, the guy that's way too serious about it.
Right.
Have you ever got caught up in that as a former athlete where they know that you used to play baseball, maybe in a softball?
Yeah,
league,
they wanted me. They wanted me to play in the men's leagues out here, and I'm like, listen, I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of beating a former major leaguer. I'm sorry, my ego and your egos don't mix.
Well, it's funny because I was playing basketball one time with Scott Hastings, and Scotty, God bless him, because Scotty, like Rex Chapman just tweeted out something the other day, the old school NBA, where if you want to do your little show, if you want to do the Rich Harden or Harden with his little
James Harden,
James Harden with that. Did you see the acting award he won the other night for a foul?
No, but it's basketball, so I expected it.
I know about. I've watched Harden. Yeah,
dude, Scotty's famous for Charles Barkley was taking it to Lane Beer one time, and Scotty knew they needed Lane Beer to get through the playoffs, so he decked Barkley.
Jeez,
that was the
I love it.
He came up in. So when Scotty plays, he just hangs out at the 3-point line. Now he can actually shoot 3-pointers, especially for a big man. But he would not go inside because
he's like 6'8", right, or 6'9"?
6'10".
6'11", dude.
Yeah. Like he's
massive.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's like your average shooting guard now in the NBA.
Yeah, I know because they're
all
that's
because they're all 8 feet tall,
and that's because centers shoot threes all the time.
Well, it's a different game.
I'm just saying it's interesting because all the former athletes that I've ever known always tell me Ed McCaffrey was the king of it. I don't have any ego. I'm not competitive. You're more competitive than I am. And I'm like, come on, man, that's a lie.
Right.
That's a flat
I said, listen,
lie.
if I'm going to play adult league baseball again, I'm going to make sure and get my arm back into shape that I feel comfortable enough rolling out with my best stuff. I'm not just going to be, let's go lace the cleats up and go. I told people immediately after I retired, I'm like, listen, I'm done with competition. I've done it for the last however many years since I was a little kid. I want a little break.
Well, the worst experience that I had, so you guys know, I mean, I like playing football, so I'd play in these. It was the dumbest flag league ever. You were allowed to block and all this, so basically you could hit anybody but the guy with the ball. But anyway, we'd play in these leagues, and I got Reggie Rivers, who was working at KO for a while, to come out and play with us. And the amount of trash talk this dude had to – I mean, Reggie is still, like, yoked up. I'm just like, fellas, if he decides to just drop his shoulder as you get near him on a flat, it ain't going to end well for you.
Yeah.
One guy was going off about some kick return he didn't have one time, and I'm like, bro, we all know what you're talking about. I got no idea who you are. Why are you running your mouth at this guy?
Because it's rec league. You know what happens. It happens in every rec league. Guys get
overworked.
Yeah, they do. So
they get their big boy tough guy attitudes, and they run out there, and when it doesn't go their way, it ends up being ugly. Then the cops get called.
Have you guys watched a lot of the NCAA basketball tournament?
I was going to bring that up. I've not watched a minute.
Me neither.
Of it.
I don't know whether it's because I'm unemployed currently and just I have this malaise over me.
It's baseball season.
Is it that? I don't know what it is.
Mark, you're in preseason. You're in spring training mode still.
Maybe
you're not ready. You're not around like all the pools and the.
Well, I don't like doing the brackets.
It
just stresses me out.
Can I tell you about the greatest NCAA bracket I've ever in?
I got to hear it.
Okay,
because I was going to bring this up.
Yep. So this is as a Rocky. My first year with the Rockies. I'm technically a rookie still. Right?
Team,
and of course,
this is run by the team.
This is run by Josh Fogg, right? And Corey Sullivan, like the two biggest gamblers on the team.
Corey
right?
will bet
Not
on
even
anything.
Close. So the way it worked was you picked a team at random off of an index card. They had written them all down. It's $100 a team. Because I'm a rookie, I had to buy two teams. So naturally, I give them my $200, and they're like, all right, take one team from the left bracket, one team from the right bracket, and it's a spread pool. So if your team loses but covers, you get the winning team and move on, right? If your team wins and covers, you move on. If your team wins but doesn't cover, you lose, and the guy you lost to gets your team, right? So that's how it works. So in the left bracket, I get American University, and I'm sitting there going, well, there goes $100, right? And in the right bracket, I get North Carolina. I'm like, all right, I got a decent shot with them, right?
Yeah.
So first round, American loses to Michigan State, but covers. So I get Michigan State. Michigan State then covered the entire rest of the tournament to the championship. North Carolina covered the entire tournament. So I came in first and second place. And the look on Josh Fogg's face
so irate.
When he knew that the championship game meant nothing to nobody.
That's awesome.
All I said is, like, just give me my money. That's all I care. I don't care who wins this game. I'll just take my money and be done gambling for the rest of my life.
Did you get extra rookie hazing because of that?
No, but they were. Fogger was pissed.
That's a good. That was a good payout for you.
It was a $5,000 payout.
Yeah, I kind of do that, man.
Hell yeah!
You know you're heading to the minors for a bit, right?
Yeah, it was the greatest. No, I was my first year with the Rockies, so I had just gotten traded over there.
So you know.
So I knew I was pretty much on the
because
big league
the NCAA championship game normally happens right at the beginning of baseball season, like that Monday.
Yeah, like I think we were just going to break for the regular season.
Sounds about
and I don't
right.
remember we sat at a B-Dubs or something like that watching it. And his ass was so chapped. It was awesome. I was very thrilled with that. Now I'm like, you know what? I don't need to play any more brackets. I had the greatest bracket of all time.
See, I love it when you get the guy that's trying to get you. But.
Well, I will sit with Corey Sullivan, and when we're when I've done pre and post games with him, we'll just be kind of hanging out watching the game, and like almost every situation, every pitch, there's some kind of a gambling coming out.
Of course.
Hey, 3-2.
Corey, yeah.
And so
Corey only makes bets he knows he can win.
If you watch baseball this year, basically every 3-2 pitch there is a foul ball.
It's like 80%.
Right. He knows the percentile.
Yes.
So he'll be like,
yeah. So
I'll
watch a
bet you
game.
Foul ball here.
Yep. Watch a game. 3-2 count. You're going to see a foul ball 80% of the time.
We had a game. We're sitting on the set. It's like the ninth
First
inning.
pitch after 3-2 goes.
3-2.
Yep.
It's 80% of foul ball.
Right.
We're sitting on the set, Andy, and there's a game that's screaming along. And the worst thing you can do is be like, "This game is flying."
Yeah.
We're in
kiss of
death.
death.
Trust me, I've done that.
Yeah, then we're playing 20 innings.
And it's an hour and 34 in. And he was like, "I'll bet you." He'll say something to me like, "I'll bet you like $10,000 that this game doesn't,
Yeah, they're never small
that
bets
this game
either.
goes like 1 hour 50." And I'm like, and then he'll say something to you
Over
like,
under, yeah.
But no, Corey will say something like this to you. That's like your paycheck every other week for the next 5 months. Can you handle that? And he'll put it on you, and you're like, well, or he'll put it in some way where you're like, that's like $100 a week for the next 6 months. You got $100 a week, right? You don't think about the big.
He's trying to bait you in there.
And I almost lost. Seriously, I almost lost at 10
a lot
grand.
Of money.
Yes.
It
was by a minute, and I was sweating it.
There was another Josh Fogg bet that he lost when he was in Cincinnati playing with Ken Griffey Jr. He actually won the bet. Sorry, he won the bet, and Griffey paid him in pennies. $1,500 in pennies were wheeled in on a dolly and stacked in his locker.
That's awesome.
Like, how do you? I mean, you got to call the bank and be like, "I'm Ken Griffey Jr. I need $1,500 in pennies."
Jason, you've played in Cincinnati.
I know. I get it, but that's an awkward request, I guess, if you're calling a bank.
That'd be like Von Miller saying,
right.
"Hey, we can do you a favor, Von Miller. Come in and sign an autograph."
Hey, First Bank, I need $1,500 in pennies.
I'm sure nowadays somebody'd film it, right?
Right.
It'd be on all. It'd be
how many
over
tons
social
of
media.
pennies is that? I mean, it's got to be tons of pennies, right? 1,500.
Dude, yeah.
That's a lot of money.
It's 100 pennies for $1.
Right.
So that's 15,000
I'm
pennies.
going to have to Google that. How many pounds is
It's either 15,000.
I'm going to Google how many pounds is a dollar's worth of pennies.
Maybe that'll come up.
It's funny because I want to get back to the bracket stuff in a minute, but you just bring up the game thing, length of game, and it was funny because when I used to wait tables, we used to always say, don't make plans if you're first out the door because it'll be a busy night. And the same thing seemed to follow the Rockies game. If I made plans after any Rockies game I was running back in the control room, that thing was guaranteed to be ticketed for extra innings and go about 4 hours. I missed a wedding one time because of it.
So it's 8.81 ounces.
I have no idea. Yeah.
That's what 1 pound of or $1 worth of pennies weighs.
100 pennies is 8 ounces.
So 8.81. So now let's multiply that by
1,500.
Right.
We got Jason doing math right on set here. So
that's 13,215 ounces, and divide by 16, 825.937 pounds.
Where are you putting that? 800 pounds of pennies.
825 pounds of pennies.
What do you do with that then? I mean, that is the ultimate.
You take it back to the bank and get cash.
But how?
Right.
Do you then stop the guys and pay them to wheel it back out?
I'm going to call the Brinks guys and, hey, I need you to get your truck over here.
It must have been like lying in the tunnel, leading up to the locker, to the clubhouse or something.
That is awesome.
That is awesome.
That's funny. Man. That's one of those things that, you expect to show up in Bull Durham, right?
Right.
It was funny because I was getting into the NCAA tournament with Marc Johnson the other day. You know what I think's really changed? Because I was trying to think, when was the last time that I just genuinely cared about the NCAA? Because I haven't. And like you, being in the media, you always kind of get forced into some bracket. I haven't watched a lick of college basketball. The last time I enjoyed it professionally, I went with Marc Johnson when the Buffs were in the first round of the NCAAs. And I got to do color for them against Indiana and then against Baylor.
Oh, wow.
Because the guy had to bail out. And so we called a couple games. It was back when we were on Peyton Manning watch. I was driving Marc Johnson nuts. So calling all my people all day every day, just trying to see is he signed, has he made a decision.
So you guys, where was the game? Where were the games?
In New Mexico. It couldn't have been any worse.
Oh, you were at the Pit?
Yeah. Ugh.
What? The Pit? That's a famous joint.
The town's fine, but
I got you. But at least you got the broadcast from a famous
the
venue.
It was awesome. I mean, this is where I have great appreciation for guys that do it in sports at any high level. Tad Boyle, because he's such a great guy, he let us come into his scouting meetings before both games. I mean, Tad had just barely met me and was just like, all right, and you know this. He's like, hey, I'm going to trust you.
Yeah.
If any of this gets out, then I won't trust you anymore. We literally sat in the tape session, and it was amazing to me because ultimately, to be truthful about it, dude, the Baylor shooter that knocked the Buffs out of the tournament was the guy. He must have harped on him for 5 minutes in his meeting. If we get through, and he'd show the plays. That's how I sounded. People are like, wow, you really know a lot about basketball. I'm like, really, I don't. I just took notes during Tad's session.
That's cool.
But
That's great
drew
insight.
Up the plays that this kid kept hitting open threes on, and I was like, fellas, this is why I could never be a college coach. Your your fate is in the hands of 18-year-olds. You're not sure they're paying attention.
This is why you wonder why Tom Izzo sat there and berated his player on the court, right? Because I guarantee it was something they talked about, and he didn't do it.
See, I want to get into that too.
People need to stop being
this last point about the NCAAs, and then I want to get into the coaching because honestly, I cannot believe the hullabaloo that's going on about that. But real quickly, the last time, and I don't know if you're old enough, but you know why I don't get in the NCAA tournament anymore?
Why?
I was talking about this with stinking Marc Johnson the other day. I remember Duke teams and the UNLV teams and all these teams where before everybody took off after a year of playing basketball, where you'd watch guys for 2 or 3 years. I had a hate for Christian Laettner like no other. So I was watching.
You weren't
the
the
game
only
if nothing
one.
else, just to you just wanted to watch and hope somebody would take them down. But I don't think you have these 2-3 year teams anymore. I mean, you get what you have now in the NCAA tournament is a Kentucky that gets 5 one-and-done kids, right? So they're a great team because they got these great athletes that could have gone to the NBA but are now fulfilling their commitment, going up against a Harvard team that actually has some chemistry because the guys have played together for 4 years because no one's going to the NBA when they're done. So therefore we get an upset, and the team that I actually would probably watch gets knocked out in these first couple weekends, and I don't care by the last weekend. Does that about sum it up for you?
I mean, you load up with their superstars and off you go, right?
Yeah,
then you rebuild.
I don't.
And the great coaches are already recruiting 2 or 3 years ahead of time.
No, I know, but it's just not like having a team that has been together for 2 or 3 years that actually has some chemistry.
It's because the pro ranks,
Laettner and Bobby
the
Hurley. and
pro ranks are the ones that are pilfering them.
Yeah, I know,
Right.
but for CU currently, Andy, if I've heard it once, I've heard it 10 times. They're a young team, like they have no.
They're always a young team.
They had
Feels
one
like they've
senior.
been a young team for the last 5 years.
Yeah, so I'm able to watch them in the NIT because I have DirecTV and I can't get the Pac-12 network, so I never watch them play. And they're in my backyard, so I want them to do well. So I did watch them win whoever they beat their first game. I can't even remember what. I don't know, but they're on
Dayton
what?
or something like that.
Yeah. So they're playing what? Monday? They play Monday night?
Home game tomorrow night on Monday night.
Right, against Norfolk State. I guess I'll watch.
Oh, they're in Boulder, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could probably just go up there and buy a ticket and go.
It's on TV.
Or you could just go to the game.
Stout don't leave the house.
Stout, you need to wear your eye black to the game. That would be amazing.
Look, he's mad.
I know.
That make you mad?
That would be amazing.
No, I'll wear I'll wear my eye black all week if you want me to. I got nothing going on. Right, Andy?
You got to film it.
Trust
Yeah.
me.
We got to film it and put it up
Otherwise
next to the
nobody knows,
podcast.
right?
I kind of hit the point where I'm sick of being unemployed, by the way. But back to your point about the coaching. I mean, what was your take on that? To me, I'm still trying to figure out what he did that had everybody so upset. He was yelling? Is that what we're upset about?
Apparently it looked like he was being really aggressive towards the player, like going to grab him or throw a punch, whatever the thought was on it. And then once they all got back to the huddle, he was still going at, like, other players had to restrain the coach.
I watched it.
Yeah,
Come on.
I mean, it wasn't – I don't think it was anything.
He wasn't like choking like a neck hold or
No.
anything.
Knight on him,
Right. Well, and that was one of the comments that somebody brought up. Was like, listen, he ain't no Bobby Knight, right? All he did was yell at the guy. And, I know all these pro athletes on social media are coming out. They're like, listen, if you can't handle that, you don't need to be playing sports. Like, that's coaching. That's what you're supposed to do. I was like, well, no, he's got to ask him nicely to sit down and pay attention to what we're talking. I'm like, come on, save it. He's passionate in the moment. He wants to win. His players know that, right? If they messed up, they're gonna know about it.
Look, man, I'm coaching. You probably can relate to this too. I'm coaching kids right now. One of the biggest problems, one of the things I'm getting used to with the younger generation is, and I love my kids. I got a great group of kids. Even the ones that drive me a little nutty are still great kids. But everything's a discussion. I came from the era where it wasn't a discussion. The coach is talking, and I just need to adjust what he's telling me to adjust.
Right.
He doesn't care why I thought I was doing it. He doesn't want to hear my reasoning behind it. He doesn't want to hear the thought process.
Right.
He simply wanted you to do this. All he's telling you is, that's not what I'm asking you to do. This is what you better be doing.
Right.
And it feels like, even with the kids I coached for the last 3 years, everything's a discussion. Well,
Well,
here's what I was thinking. I don't care what you were thinking. I'm telling you it's wrong.
And what's the difference between Izzo being mad and pointing fingers and shouting on the court and a football coach grabbing a player by the face mask and berating him on the sideline? There's no difference there, right?
What do you
goes
mean?
back to theirs.
The kids actually say to you, why are we doing this drill or something? Or
Oh, I've had kids tell me I don't like this drill. This is not the drill we did when we were wherever. Or
Touch
like you'll
Nikes,
tell
dude.
a kid, I'll tell
This
a
is what
kid,
we're doing.
I will tell a kid, for example, stick on the inside, shoot towards the net. Make sure, whether I'm right or left, wherever I've got from pipe to pipe, that's the arm I want to shoot in, so I have the most goal to shoot at. Well, coach, but I feel comfortable out here, and I was just thinking if I shot and missed at the attack, I don't care. Again, I don't care
not
what
the
you're
point of
thinking.
it, right?
All I know is I saw you doing the wrong thing. I'm now trying to correct it. I don't care what went into it.
Yeah.
You weren't
They're
doing
sitting
the
there
right
talking
thing.
back instead of listening.
Exactly. Because, again, we come from a youth sports culture now. And, look, I'm in high school. I can only imagine what it's like in college and then on and on and on.
oh,
The
dude,
youth-
I'm the oldest one here. I grew up with coaches like I'll never forget. Soccer was like, why walk when you can run? We ran all the. That's all things
Oh, I
like
know.
little things like that. Like there's no walking, we're running.
Are we going to go on the 2 o'clock or no?
I don't know. I'd be down. We go.
But
It's a great tour.
Yes.
But when you were younger, for me anyway, I expected my coaches to be, disciplinarians and to have the fundamentals down and to teach you the best aspects of the game. Then if you had talent, you go from there.
Yeah, tough but fair. That's right.
Right.
That's all I ask
Look, I
of
came
coach.
from, like I said, and maybe just because I wasn't a star athlete. Now, I did some good things my senior year lacrosse-wise, but again,
Yeah.
I came from the era where, look, the coaches pretty much, there wasn't a lot of, hey, great job. There was great job during the game, but it wasn't this love fest. They coached you hard, and a lot of the messages were stop doing this or don't do that or, and if they weren't telling you to not do something, they were telling something. They didn't have time to sit around and tell you how great you were or how special that move was. It just wasn't the coaching we received. And I feel like these kids are getting too used to getting too much positive. Look, I've tried to adjust some things.
This is the participation trophy crowd, right? Nobody loses. Everybody's a winner, right? That's why tough love is hard for people to handle. They're not used to losing, right? Losing teaches you a lot. I tell my kids all the time, like, dude, you get your ass kicked, learn from it, right? That's the best experiences you're going to have in life are the days where you are terrible or where your team is terrible.
Yeah, I actually heard on KOA on the news, because I'm old and I listen to AM radio, that
On your shortwave?
DPS. That's a topic for another day.
Hey, look.
I tried to get a ham radio license.
Marc might not be in this predicament.
But DPS, they lowered the range for grades. I don't know. If you get a 50, it's like a D.
You need a 2.5 to compete in DPS. I'm pretty sure that's the threshold.
But they actually did it by the letter grade, like an A. An A. What's an A in your mind?
100.
Right,
or
but 90 to 100.
plus,
Right,
90 to 100.
So
Right.
a D
80
would
to
be
90.
They've dropped it by 5 points. So a B is a 75
What?
to a 90. A C is a 60 to a 7. A D is like a 45 to a 6. Yeah.
And I try and tell. We have a lot of high
that's
school.
all part of
well,
that
we
to
have a
me.
lot of high school athletes that come through our facility, and I'm like, listen, guys, for you guys, I know school's not for everybody. I get that, but listen, if all you ever did was do your homework and show up to class and turn in that homework, you would get a C. You have to physically try to get less than a C.
Not try.
Right. Well, you have to try. If you not tried, you'd get a C.
Right. You're
But
trying to not try.
If you're trying, exactly. You have to try to get D's and F's. There's actual effort that goes into
How about
that.
I also heard the DU now, they're not going to necessarily have to have you have a high SAT or ACT. Those scores are not mandatory now.
Well, you can just buy your way in, right?
Well, there's that.
That's USC.
Oh, was it?
But
And
but I always
UCLA.
used to hear you had to have a good score, and then hey, what did you do? What was your extracurricular activity? What were you involved in? But then there's me. I was like, I can't get it at DU. I don't have an SAT score to go there.
Right.
They said that not everybody had the same access to the prep stuff, so they're not going to count it as much
And
anymore.
people
or
don't
whatever.
test well. Some
Right,
people are
right.
better in a classroom.
They're just now figuring this
situation.
stuff out, huh?
I guess.
Now they'll get better
Yeah,
athletes
but
at DU.
you have to have some parameters.
Well, now they'll get better athletes, right? Because we went to DU 10 years ago, trying to bring baseball
Did you?
back to DU. Yeah, we
'cause
met
I
with.
know they had it way
yeah,
back
we
when.
met with the AD and we said, all right, hey, what are the thresholds
Interesting.
that we need to do? They wanted $25 million to start the program. I was like, oh, okay, that's a lot of money, but all right. Then they said the problem with bringing baseball to DU is that we'll get the rich kids in, no problem. The poor kids will qualify for enough parameters to get academic help. The middle class kids that are too rich to afford the academic help but too poor to afford the tuition are going to be your problems. And then on top of that, the threshold, the academic threshold, we will not bend on. There are very, very high standards to go to DU.
Yeah.
And, let's face it, not all athletes are 4.5 GPA students. So you're going to run into some issues there.
Yeah.
And I was like, I still want to try. There still needs to be D1 baseball in Denver. And that's pretty much where the conversation ended. The real deal breaker was the $25 million to start the program. But the academic side was one that I'm sure that you can definitely face and address, but from a monetary standpoint, that's a lot of money.
Well, you know what, the whole world is. I feel like we were warned about all this coming when American Idol started, of all things. because you saw these kids that were trying to sing for the judges that were terrible.
Oh, right.
And it was clear. Nobody ever told them.
Well, the only
"Hey,
reason
you're
they made
terrible."
it to TV because they were terrible.
Yeah.
They were good entertainment.
You were here so we could all laugh.
That's right.
And even that wouldn't be allowed nowadays
No,
because we're
it's valid.
having too much
Yeah.
fun of them.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Yeah,
I just
the
couldn't
William
believe-
Hungs of the world wouldn't be famous
Right.
if they weren't.
No, I know. Trust me.
But there was the Gong Show back in the day. That's what.
Oh, I know. But see, that's
But
all
you can't
too
make
mean
fun
now.
of people that are bad at stuff.
Yeah. It's too mean.
I know.
Marc.
That's what the Gong Show was all about.
I know.
Gong, you're the worst. You're out.
Anyway.
You know, somebody brought up, actually, one of my good buddies, good idea for a TV show would be to get a whole bunch of baseball guys that think they're good enough to be in the big leagues, and then put them through like a Survivor style, competition, combine, whatever it is, and have the coaches, critique them or whatever. And the winner of the program would get themselves like a big league invite or something like that for spring training. That would be a lot of fun because then, you could take the guys that are, the hot shots who think that they're really good at it and put them amongst, people who are actually really good and watch how bad they really are.
Hey, I'm telling you, and I did this one time now. Again, I've spent my life, as you guys know, playing lacrosse, but we were playing in those flag football leagues, and I had a guy, the guy that was a quarterback of our team played at CSU for a while. His name was Pat Yonda. And so the Colorado Wildcats, one of these lower-level
Indoor leagues.
football teams.
They
you're
play
gonna
up in
get
Loveland?
$200 a game.
Budweiser Event Center?
Nah, this was
Pay to
back
play?
early 90s.
Yeah.
It was $200 a game and some health insurance, right? And Pat, because I played receiver with them in a couple of leagues, he's like, will you just come out and, if nothing else, run routes? I just want one or two familiar guys to throw to while I'm out there because I knew, I ran a 5-second 40. I remember that. And I'm like, I ain't getting in here.
Unhitch the trailer, Andy.
Yeah, I was as fast as the quarterback, so that's going to be his problem. But I thought he'd be good.
Did you get
for
a
my
running head
media.
start?
No. Well, sadly, this was back when I was in shape.
Okay.
So that 5 might have been where I topped out.
So you're
baby.
at like 10 now.
Yeah, now 15. No, but you know what? I was like, I'll do this for my media career because I want to see what these guys go through. And we had to do the 20, and we had to do the cone drill and the shuttle drill. I mean, it was a full football workout. Now, I also saw into where the politics come in because during that 40 time, we were up at, All-Star Stadium or whatever up there north. And I guess it's a slow track, and a couple guys didn't run as fast as they thought, so we all had to run again because his coach clearly wanted to get a 40 time down.
Were
from
they all
one of
doing
his
it with
guys.
stopwatches?
Yes.
Yeah, 3
So-
stopwatches and they average
Right.
the times.
Yeah, and they're like, no, that
super
can't be right.
accurate.
Everyone's doing it again.
Super
So-
accurate.
But anyway, even that was eye-opening because there were some former guys from, that had tried out for, I can't remember the guy's name, but there were a couple of receivers out there that I know were in Bronco camp because they were just trying to find some way. They wanted this, then the AFL, then try to get back to the NFL. And to just watch the pure, I just talked to some media kids on Monday up at Mark Johnson's class at CU Boulder, and I said, don't lose sight of how hard a lot of this stuff is.
It may look easy. That's what I try and tell people. The closer you get to home plate in baseball, the faster and more difficult the game gets. Like, you can sit at the stands at Coors Field. You can sit up in the 300 section and watch it from a mile away and be like, oh, this game's easy. And then the middle deck, this game's still easy. You could sit front row behind home plate. This game's easy, right? The minute you step in that box, 90 miles an hour is past you faster than you can blink your eyes, right? And you got guys that are smoking that left and right. Right? And then you add more velocity on top of that, and the game gets even more difficult. So don't kid yourself. Like, even from the batter's box, as a pitcher, I'm sitting there like, oh, I could totally get this guy. And then I get up to play, and I'm like, dude, I got no shot. None whatsoever. Like, I'm 20 feet. I'm 20 feet from the batter's box, super confident. The minute I step in the box, I'm like, nope, not even coming close to this.
You go from the on-deck circle into...
I'll be lucky if I break my bat.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
why.
it's crazy. That's one of the things that I like about, and I don't know how, if I do get some Rocky TV, I don't know how I can talk about this on TV saying like, well, in the 50 and over league, because I'm going to have Huey and Corey and
Right.
Spilly look at me like, stop right now,
Yeah.
Stout.
Just don't.
But
Yeah, but then you can relate to the average
no,
viewer.
I feel like it is giving me a whole new enlightenment of the game from, because I played, you play when you're young. I played till I was 16, 17.
I know. I've seen your Little League glove.
Competitive.
You still have it. Do you still use it?
But getting into this,
Or is it the baseball?
I have the big red glove. All right? It's signed by Jonathan Herrera, one of my favorite players.
Didn't you bring in a baseball or something from Little League when you were in Little League in New Jersey.
Maybe.
Right?
Yeah.
You brought something in that you still have from Little League.
One of the most awesome thing trophy that I have in my life. I was 13 in 1976, and we won. This is the 13-year-old All-Stars, Babe Ruth. We won the South Jersey Championship, and they gave us a beer mug as a 13-year-old.
I've got one of those too.
Prepping
man.
for your later life.
I have it to this day. It's an awesome. I love that. I might have brought. Yes, I did bring that in.
I thought you brought your glove or
Probably,
a ball or
you know,
something that you got from Little League. I was
you're getting off the track.
I know. I'm sorry.
But what I just want to say is like getting into the batter's box and having another man throw a ball at you, and I get you. It's overfit. It's weird. I think it's the most peaceful time. I don't think about anything but trying to hit the baseball. There's nothing else on your mind.
Survival.
And it's sort of like this weird nirvana where you're just in the box trying to hit a baseball. And it just has given me a way, way new appreciation of – like I'm watching the preseason game the other night with the Cubs, and it was last night. If you watched, Jason, it's like a 1-2 count on Baez, and Freeland throws him some kind of junk ball off the plate, and he hits it out.
Yeah.
And at first I'm like, why did you swing? And then two, how did you hit it out? Off Freeland,
right?
Who right now, Kyle's arguably one of the best lefties in the game.
Yep.
With his stuff, and then when I see that all that's humbling. It's all part of the humbling aspect of baseball, but it's given me a new perspective just playing as an adult.
Just know big league hitters are guessing more often than they're not.
Yeah.
So they're usually looking for one location, and then reacting accordingly.
Right, but their skill set is so uber.
Their reactions, their ability to
what they're willing to swing at.
Right. I mean, it's all hyper sensitive and elite. Right. A guy like Baez who's able to hit a ball that's 6 inches off the plate out.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen very often.
I got one more thing I want to get to before we got to wrap up, but I wondered if you would talk about this because I feel like you're one of the guys that has told me about how 2 strikes is easy, 3rd strike feels impossible sometimes on certain guys.
From a pitcher standpoint?
How they just shorten it up. They're not looking anymore. They're maybe not taking
a
couple glory hacks.
Now they're guessing.
They're going to make you earn it.
Yeah. The worst at bat I ever had in my not as a hitter but as a pitcher was against David Eckstein. We were in Houston. He was with San Diego. And I probably threw 10 or 12 pitches to this guy. And I got ahead pretty quickly. And I started throwing. I threw fastballs. He fouled them off. Changeup, foul it off. Curveball, foul it off. Slider, foul it off. I even dropped down sidearm, and he fouled it off. I'm like sitting here going, will you freaking put something into play here? Like, seriously. Like, swing and miss, pop it up, hit a homer. I don't care at this point. You're wasting my pitches. And I threw him a cockshot fastball, and he doubled over the second baseman. I'm sitting there going, well, this at bat's over. Like, congratulations.
How demoralizing is that?
It's incredibly demoralizing.
Why did you throw him a fastball?
Why? Because he wouldn't hit anything else.
But he's not. Oh, dude.
He used to do that.
He seriously wouldn't hit anything else.
He was on everything, kind of, right?
No, he was on nothing. That's why he fouled it off. He was guessing the entire time.
You throw him heat.
I threw him a batting practice fastball, and he doubled over the second baseman. I threw my hands in the air. I said, good, congratulations, you earned it.
At least this is over.
I'm over. It's like at some point, so it comes a point in an at-bat where as a pitcher you're sitting there going, all right, I don't care at this point, just put it into play. And then you get like a few pitches in, and you're like, all right, listen, I'm going to win this one. And so your mentality changes. Then you start to pick.
Yeah.
And then you end up walking them, right? And then the batter wins, and then you get pissed off. So
right, because eventually the count evens out.
Right.
And then you're like, well,
right, because
I can't
you tried to
3-2.
throw a pitch that was too good to trick them.
Right.
Instead of just throwing something. You could have slopped the biggest piece of doo-doo up there, and he would have swung right through it. But no, you overthought it and walked him.
Yeah, it's like that.
Well, I'm just see again
Sorry.
the game within the game. But that's what I wanted you to talk about.
But that was,
that's why Helen was so good. It's like he just wore guys down.
But I know some hitters, like if you talk to Nolan about going to 2 strikes, he's more comfortable with 2 strikes than he is 0-0, right? Why? I don't know. Maybe it's less predictable for him or more predictable for him. Whatever it is, the comfort level goes up with 2 strikes for a lot of hitters.
Isn't it kind of like dumbed down for someone where it's like, I'm just going to see the ball and hit it?
Well, and that's you're in your final, right? Your final strike before you can't do this anymore. Yeah. So it's like, all right, I'm just going to react. I'm going to react to whatever comes up, right? And some guys are good enough that they can actually sit on that stuff.
All right, so this one's kind of for you. I'm getting irritated lately. Again, the music business.
Yeah.
You come from the day as a DJ.
Yeah.
And we may have to do more of this, another time.
Yeah. What's the question?
So,
We need to do one from your man cave.
Sublime, Sublime with Rome. I love them, right? They keep promising a new album, and every couple months we get a single, to the point where we're now up to 3 singles. Where I'm like, are we dropping an album anymore or not? But everybody's now, my music guys have told me it's actually more effective and cheaper for them to just drop singles instead of just give us a whole album. This is what iTunes has created.
And it's kind of the way that you stay relative, because if you can have, and I don't know, I'm still in the, hey, if they play it on the radio, it'll be a hit. But, nobody cares with it. Spotify, it's expensive to make an album. You have to have X amount of good, 9, 10, 11, 12 good tracks. You can't have fodder, which a lot of bands used to just be like, we need one more tune.
Right.
And we can put
the label's
album.
I need one tune for radio.
We need the hit.
Yeah, but then, and then you hear the stories like the last song that Def Leppard did for Hysteria was Pour Some Sugar on Me. It was kind of an afterthought.
Right, it was a throw-in.
Right, it was like Joe Elliott was strumming this chord, and then Mutt Lang hears it, and he's like, oh, we can work with that, and it's their biggest song ever. But, I think this day and age, no one's buying music, period. You're sort of renting it from Spotify.
I stream it.
Right, you're streaming it. So why take the time and effort to put a full-length album out?
You get these bands where, and Blink is supposed to have one, I hope, coming out in the summer, but there's certain bands where I could really just use your album in the summer, right? And
but how many albums have you actually listened to? Even one from Blink, where you're just like, every song's awesome, right? If I listen to most albums, like, my favorite artists, I'm like, there's 2 or 3 good songs on here, and the rest of them, like,
No, I like the California.
Like,
I got a lot of their albums that I like. I like Roger Clyne and the Peacemakers and the Refreshments. I'll throw a disc one. We're going to have Jim Dalton, the guitar player, for them on one of these podcasts. But
ask him. No, I kind of agree with you. So I'm going to see Tesla here coming up.
Good for you.
And I have Tesla's greatest hits.
Didn't they just come out with a new album?
Yeah. I hope they don't play a lot of it.
A lot of those hair bands are coming out. Queensryche just got a new album.
Right.
Whitesnake's got a new album. Motley Crue just dropped a new one.
They're on their 50s and 60s. So
I know, but the music is fun.
But they're sort of like, this is what we do. We make an album.
I found a brand new D. Snyder. I didn't even realize D. Snyder was still making music.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, that's
D's
a good
bright
album.
Dude. So, but I have their greatest hit CD, and I swim at Lifetime, and I have a, by the way, Game Changer Audio Flood. It's a waterproof iPod that I don't use Bluetooth. I'm still that old school.
Gangster.
So I have a iPod that's waterproof, and I came to the conclusion, Andy. I'm like I'm going through this. I have 6 songs from the greatest hits on there. That's all I like. 6 songs. It's 40 minutes. If I swim to all 6, I get 40 minutes, and those are the ones I like. I'm still picking and choosing.
So even on the greatest hits, where there might be 20 songs on there, there's only 6 that you
that
really
I
like.
Really like, and I really want to hear.
So it was a stretch to put 20 on the greatest hits album.
Well, other people like, I don't want to hear Love Song again because I've heard it as a
it's funny
You'll
because
find love again.
did that
you want to hear Modern?
Was it
Modern Cowboy or whatever that?
Modern Day Cowboy. It's a
Modern
great
Day Cowboy,
song.
yeah.
The USA, the USSR.
Well, first off,
that's one of the 6.
Yes, I figured it would be. It's like one of their biggest hits.
See, with the Less Than Jakes and the Blinks and the Goldfingers, they're all 3minute songs anyway, so it's easier to put it in.
Yeah, your greatest hits album's 20 minutes long.
Yeah, exactly.
That's punk rock, though.
You know what my buddy said, though? Because we went to it. You know how much I love Social Distortion. I went to a show with them, and I was just like, dude, you got to be kidding me. This is brutal. And I don't even know what his deal was. He just wasn't a good show, and I've seen about 15, 20 of their shows, but this was the worst by far. Well, I was worried he was back on the stuff, but my buddy John, my friend who was the singer in our band, who goes to every one of our shows, he's like my concert buddy. He's just like, you know what? They just need to quit worrying about new music and just come through town and play what I want to hear.
You know what's funny?
I don't need your old man stuff. Just play what I love.
That's what when I saw Garth here, was it 2 years ago at Pepsi Center? He got up. The very first thing he said after he got done playing his opening set or whatever, he goes, "Listen, I know you guys aren't here to hear anything new. I'll play you the old tunes. I'm going to play you one new song and then right back to the good things."
Yeah.
I'm like, that's exactly right. At some point, you reach at the time as an artist where nobody wants to hear anything new. Just play what you're good at.
You got a big catalog.
Right.
Tesla's got a new album out, but, in this day and age, I can go to setlist.com, and I can see what their set list is, and I'm going to know after Modern Day Cowboy, they're going to play something from the new album.
That's when you can go to the bathroom.
Time to get a beer.
Yeah.
Time to grab a Stranahan's from the bar.
That's right.
By the way, we are at Stranahan's Distillery.
Yeah,
We're here every Sunday. They just did a tour. They've got
2 o'clock
cocktail
tour
classes coming up in
cocktails. Let's
in
do it.
April.
We should do it.
Well, no, you should because they teach you.
We should
how to
do
make
one of
stuff,
these from
right?
the packing room.
I don't know. I saw a thing in the bathroom. They've got the rustic pint here on
What?
May 1st. You paint you paint wood like you can make like cornhole
okay.
and you drink. You
And you
it's
make
like,
a cornhole.
you make something out of wood.
What
So
day?
it's like a
May 1st, 6 to 9 p.m.
Maybe we need to schedule a podcast around that.
You need cornhole, don't you?
I got like 20 of them, but sure, we can keep
Okay,
going.
all right.
Hey, Jason doesn't like we're a little
you
uneven
got
in
a
my
little,
yard
you
for
got a little
Jason's
wonky
liking.
backyard for
Yeah.
cornhole.
We
That's
got nutty
happening this
last
summer.
year.
'Cause
All
it
right,
didn't
whatever.
last year.
That may be happening
I'm
during
good
some
at
of these
cornhole.
shows.
Are you?
Yeah.
I got some homemade boards at home. We should do this. They got
Next
giant
week-
Chargers
Hey,
logos
look.
on them, though. Sorry.
Hey, man, I got Boba Fett boards with lights around.
They
the
do have
circles.
lights. Those are pretty sick.
It's pretty, yeah.
Wow.
It's a game changer.
Oh.
Night isn't stopping us.
No.
Nikki Javala, we'll have to get her on. She's a big fan of cornhole, too.
Who?
She laughs. Nikki Javala
Oh, Nikki.
from The Athletic is always joking about cornhole. Matter of fact, she tweeted me during the Super Bowl saying, get over to opening night.
Is
They've
the
got
Athletic
cornhole.
just taking every reporter in the
Yeah,
world?
well, now again, we'll see because there was a thing called I think it was called the National. They invited me to write for it once upon a time. We'll see how it works.
I just feel like every writer now is going from local newspaper to the Athletic.
there is no more local newspaper. They got to
Well,
do
that
something.
too,
I'm happy
right?
for it because there's a lot of good writers that need to keep.
But I
doing
feel
what
like
they do.
there's beat reporters, right? Like
Yeah.
Thomas Harding for the Rockies.
He's
and
MLB,
then,
yeah.
And then eventually, a guy like Patrick Saunders with the Post will end up at the Athletic.
Well,
right?
Nick
Or
Groke
Nick
is-
Groke is at
he
the
is.
Athletic, right?
He
Because
left
he's
the
not
Post.
he's not at the
And
Post.
Ken Rosenthal with the Athletic.
Yep.
There's
Yep.
some really heavy hitters.
Oh,
with
yeah,
the
100%.
Which say, look, thank God, I still love reading the written word. It's just nobody wants to read it in the paper.
Here in
Well,
Denver,
and that's the other
went,
thing with the Athletic is you got to pay for it, right?
Yeah,
Are
I
you
get
willing
it,
to
but
pay?
You know what? For a guy like Nikki, for example,
yeah,
it's worth it.
but essentially what you're getting is every newspaper from every market online.
Right.
And the writers. So,
Right.
but yeah, here in Denver, it's Nikki Jabala does the Broncos. Nick Kosmider does the Nugs, and Nick Groke does the Rockies. It's
Right.
all the Knicks.
So it's
There's a
all the
theme.
and the
Knicks.
Nickies, yeah. So
All right, boys. I guess we'll wrap it up. I got a few more things to get to, but
I'll take
as
my eye
always-
black off and maybe have a.
No, I think
go have a Whiskey
we need
Rob.
To go on we need to go on a stretch here. You need to eye black
stretcher.
the podcast for like.
Hey, look, my
let's
first
see how
game's
long
next
we
week.
can go.
I'll have it on again.
We got to get some video to accompany this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll start doing some. And we may do some YouTube
should do some
live. You know, do
Facebook
some YouTube
Live.
live and some Twitter live. We
Yeah.
could put like. Did you see real quickly? Vic
Insta
Fangio?
Live.
Patrick Smythe tweeted out a picture of Vic Fangio getting his face basically analyzed for Madden for the video game, and he's sitting. I'll show it to you guys. He's sitting in this machine that it looks like.
So just take a laser beam and scan
Oh no!
your eyes.
It's like there's 20 cameras. I mean, it looks
Scan
like
your
he's in a
entire-
space pod.
Yeah, no,
it looks like he's about to
it's-
take off.
Yeah, we used to do this. Is way back even when I was in when I was playing my first year. We had to do that. We sat in a room and all these cameras just scan you
Yeah.
to create your like
Creepy.
3D avatar.
All right, we'll go get a whiskey, Rob.
Let's do it on
We'll
Thursday.
check in with you midweek here on After Hours. I think Scott Hastings is jumping into the fray.
What?
We'll talk to you then.